Hello Leafs Nation, I'm Rick Scarborough and you're watching Blue and White Weekly, where we bring you weekly updates on the Leafs and the hockey world at large. It only took a full season of me working here, but our producers finally gave me my own Blue and White Weekly mug, which you can get for yourself on tpublic.com, but that's not what's important. What's important is we have another week of Maple Leafs preseason action to talk about, so let's get into the news. Before we begin, we want to pay tribute to a pair of hockey legends that we lost this past week. 1971 Vezina winner Ed Jockeman, who spent 12 years in the league primarily with the New York Rangers before closing out his career with the Detroit Red Wings, and Bernie Parent, whose iconic white mask protected the net for the Leafs, Bruins, and most notably the Flyers, who he won back-to-back cups with in 1974 and 75. Now let's get into some news from around the hockey world. LA Kings captain Anze Kopitar has announced he will retire at the end of this season. The 38-year-old captain is entering his 20th season in the NHL and stands just 30 points away from Marcel Dion's franchise points record. So his race to become the greatest king of all time will be one of many storylines we'll keep an eye on this season. Speaking of the Kings, veteran forward and eternal Stanley Cup runner-up Corey Perry injured himself in a pre-camp skate and will miss 6 to 8 weeks following knee surgery. You never want to see a player go down, especially while training, but couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And as long as we're talking about players missing time, you knew a Golden Knight had to make the list. Alex Pietrangelo announced at the opening of Vegas camp that he is rehabbing a hip injury, but doesn't want to rule out a return to action at some point this season. I'm calling it right now. That return will happen about 2 weeks left in the regular season, just in time for the playoffs. With a new season upon us comes new rules, including the removal of the dress code for players arriving to games. And while I'm sure this relaxes the players as they head into the locker room, it also acts as yet another showcase of the lack of personality around the NHL. Here's the Dallas Stars walk-in photos, and well, just look at them. They dress like any generic male friend group you'd see at a bar in Peterborough, Ontario. On the topic of fashion choices, a handful of new uniforms were unveiled across the league this week, and for more on the new threads hitting the ice, we'll turn it over to our junior analyst, Gilsey. What's going on, dudes and dudettes? It's your boy Gilsey, and I am finally back on Blue and White Weekly, where they got me doing a bit of a fashion show, a bit of a show and tell for you today. Boys, I'm going to be taking a look at some of the new unis, the new tarps that have come out across the National Hockey League, giving you my thoughts on them, a couple words each. Let's start off. We're going to look at the Washington Capitals. Rick took a look at this one last week. It's nice and clean. I agree with Rick. Screaming Eagle needs to stay. Not the biggest fan of the white shoulders, but we're on the right track with this one. A red jersey with a Screaming Eagle on it. The Caps need to make that the home jersey. Keep it. Do something with it. Washington, you got my approval. Up next, we got a pair of Centennial jerseys. First is the New York Rangers, keeping it classy, throwing it back to their original look. I love the lighter blue, the simple white lettering, the font, super nice. The collar, it's a little different. It's definitely old-fashioned with the hem and the cross stitching coming across. You don't see a lot of that in the NHL, but that's a bit of a good thing. Rangers, I'm digging it. Same thing with the Red Wings. They were throwing it back, but trying something a little different, and I like it. For once, Detroit's got themselves a good alternate jersey. They screwed up a couple times. Both the reverse retros were, but they made this one work. I love the stitching. I love the stripes, that diamond captain's patch that they threw on my boy Dilly Larkin. Love it. Detroit, keep doing what you're doing. And here's where we take a turn for the worse. Edmonton Oilers. What are we doing here? Wordmark jerseys aren't it, folks. Wordmark jerseys are not the play. They're doing this whole, you're built for oil country. Yeah, this is built for the discount rack. Get it out of my sight. Oilers, you messed up big time. Hit the drawing board. Not necessarily revealed this week, but a couple of other new uniforms are hitting the ice. The Sens are out there. I like seeing the Sens in a red jersey. You know, it's good as an alternate, but this one, they kind of just look like bellhops. I feel like I'm checking into a hotel. This one's not it. Seattle Kraken, not bad. I like the glow and the dark touches, even though we'll probably only see it in their entrance, which, to be fair, Seattle, you got one of the best entrances in the game. I wanted to see you do something with that, that sick seafoam turquoise color that you guys have. Give me an alternate in that, and I will buy 50 of them. And rounding it out, Carolina Hurricanes, no. It's just no. You're messing with perfection. You got to calm down. You're bringing in a new home or away or both jersey every season. Calm down. You're not impressing anybody. Those are my thoughts on some of the new tarps around the league, but if you want some good threads to wear going into this season, check out the new Blue and White Weekly collection in the Hammer Hockey Store on tpublic.com. I got my stuff. I'm going to be wearing it loud and proud all season long. Make sure you get yours. Link down in the description. Ricky boy, send it back to you. Go Leafs, go. Thank you very much, Gilsey. And as he said, be sure to check out all the Blue and White Weekly merch you could want on the Hammer Hockey Store on tpublic.com. Link is down in the description. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, and enjoy. Turning our attention to the Leafs now, training camp officially got underway this week, with head coach Craig Berube putting the team through the paces. An answer to the number one question of the offseason, who will play with Knies and Matthews now that Mitch Marner has departed the team, may be getting some answers, as Matias Maccelli has been getting in top-line minutes throughout the majority of skates and practices. The Leafs announced on Saturday prior to the start of preseason action that Simon Benoit, Nick Waugh, and Joseph Woll missed parts of camp with injuries. While Benoit remains out of action, Waugh has returned to practice, while Woll has stepped away from camp to deal with a personal matter. And now let's get into the games of the week, whether you're of the belief they matter or not. Preseason action kicked off Sunday afternoon as the Leafs visited the Senators, though it's a bit disingenuous to say it was Leafs versus Sens. It was more like Kelly Yarncroke, David Kampf, Nick Robertson, and the Marlies versus the Sens. Yarncroke opened up the scoring 47 seconds in for the boys in blue, followed by Nick Robertson and Willie Villeneuve as the NHL experience shines through to give the Leafs a 3-0 lead headed to intermission. Twitter's favorite Senator Ridley Gregg answered back for the Sens in the second before Barbolini gave the Leafs their last of the game, and Kelly Evan Leixel scored unanswered to make the final score 4-3. I know how I just finished saying that it's preseason and this game doesn't really matter if you don't want it to, but I think the only takeaway from this game can be that the Sens are about to go 0-82 this season. Fast forward to last night, Tuesday night, where the action swapped to Toronto as the Leafs iced their top squad and the Sens brought out the fringe skaters. And the big dogs immediately made their presence known as Austin Matthews opened up the scoring 5 minutes into the match. Bobby McMahon would then score on the power play to round out the first, assisted by Easton Cowan, who was all over the ice in this game, picking up a roughing call. A third-period collision with line-mate Austin Matthews in front of the Ottawa net led to Matthew Knies heading to the locker room, but he'd return before the end of the game with thankfully only a cut to show for it. Fabian Zetterlund put Ottawa on the board not long after, and a late 6-on-4 marker from Shane Pinto tied the game and sent us to overtime, where Pinto would score yet again to give the Sens the 3-2 win. But look at the good stuff. Matias Maccelli had 2 assists skating alongside Matthews and Knies. Number 16 who? Looking ahead in the week, the Leafs head to Montreal tomorrow night, Thursday night, for a tilt with the Habs, before the Habs come to Toronto for a Saturday night showdown. We'll have both those games for you next week, plus so much more. But for now, thank you very much for watching Leafs Nation. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, go Leafs, go. See you next week.